Welcome to the Three Intrapreneur Podcast, where three intrapreneurs, Benji, Oliver, and Alex Ivagora, get together after work on a Friday night and talk to you guys. Today we're going to be talking about the dress code and also the future of real estate. What will it look like? We think they're kind of interlinked as well. You guys, the fans, the voters, voted for this topic today, so it's going to be an interesting one. We hope we give you what you want. Don't forget about, I heard this on another podcast actually, called Real Talk by Andy Frisella. He makes people pay a fee. It's not monetary or financial, but if you got something from this, if you learned something, found it valuable, please share the show. That's the fee. You have to pay the fee. If you got something from it, share it and like it and comment on it.
And share it again. And share it again.
Yes. Right. Is it hot in here? Man, I am hot.
You've got a puffer.
Oh my God. No. Oh my God. That is bro, that is
Mate, that is wicked.
Thank you.
Wow.
That is
Mate,
that is the dress code of real estate.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to be walking around with my boys' faces on it.
I love that.
On my chest.
Mate, I love that.
Oh, thank you.
And for those who are listening, not watching, Alex has just taken his jacket off and is wearing a hoodie with the Three Intrapreneurs logo on.
I have this effect when I whip things out.
You've spelled it wrong.
Shut up.
No, I'm just...
Nice.
God, my head looks so big.
I'm really pink.
Yeah, you do look a bit like Quagmire.
Ollie, your teeth are so white in it.
My teeth are like really white.
That is amazing.
Oh God, I've been holding that in like all week.
Where did you get it from?
This website, they do like
You obviously have to get two.
I will. I
Honestly,
wanted to test it.
So
it looks like good
and
quality.
Save money.
That is so good.
How much was it? How much?
I think like 40 quid.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
So now actually we can sell our own merch. Yes.
We can.
Now
yeah.
on to the next one. We've got
I want a hat.
A hat.
We'll get one. Yeah, we can do
so
hats.
if anyone listening wants to
I've got a really good website. I'll send it to you.
We'll just go to all our viewings wearing that.
Yeah, they refuse to pay for the shout outs. I'm not going to say which website, but
I was going to say that. That ties in nicely with talking about the dress code, but we're doing the wine.
Yeah, so we thought we'd drop the sugary drinks after last time.
The gassy
these
drinks.
guys thought it'd be a better idea to give me alcohol instead. So, Benji, would you like to do the honours?
Go on, Benji. You know how to
Go on, Benji.
crack open
Go on. That's
a
it.
bottle of wine.
That's right.
We're going to test your skills here.
Don't worry. We'll crack on in the meantime.
Wow. I think, mate, normally you can just you don't have to do that. You can just untie the top bit.
Sorry, I'm doing this properly.
Do you want me to do it?
Okay, this is...
Come on.
And that's the end of the podcast. Thank you.
And 1 hour's up.
Wow.
So also, we haven't got wine glasses in the office. Our clients probably be happy to know. But I remember watching on The Godfather. I think he drunk them out of these sort of glasses, so it's quite cool. I feel quite, gangster drinking out of a normal glass.
Yeah, I love a big glass.
Oh, that's going in really easily.
Love a big glass.
Oh, nice.
The bigger, the better.
That's going in nicely.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I don't know if I'm doing this right.
I was about to say, isn't that normal? That's meant... Oh, mate.
You're going to cork it.
Oh, my God.
Here, give it to me. Give it to me.
No, wait.
Those arms are meant to be going up. I think you're stopping from the arms going up.
Push it in. Push it in. Oh, God, he's dropped it.
My God.
You've got to put the tip in first.
Oh, God, that's so embarrassing.
What?
Can we just, cut that?
Do you not know, honestly, how to open up
really red?
You have?
Yeah, I have.
It's okay. By the way, red wine makes me go red on the cheeks. I don't know why.
Oh, God,
it's goes straight to my cheekies.
So we had to think before this podcast, because like Alex said, do we give Alex some alcohol or do we give him sugar? And we've seen what happens with sugar in the last episode, so let's see what the result of alcohol happens this week. Oh, okay. This is the first time?
Oh, have I corked it?
No,
you've done well.
But hang on, the thing's gone through.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's okay. And then you just unscrew the cork.
Okay, I knew that.
Okay, so this is Fortnum & Mason red wine.
Hey, we should keep this cork as a memento.
It was gifted to us by a client.
Yeah.
Fourth.
We put it in...
Oh, God.
Oh, my God, Al.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
We put it in Alex's...
Benji can have that.
Put it in Alex's memory box.
Cheers. L'chaim.
Cheers,
guys.
To the Three Intrapreneurs.
To the Three Intrapreneurs.
And to Alex's new jumper.
I'm selling these jumpers. If you want one, let me know.
Are we spitting or swallowing?
What sort of podcast is this?
I thought that's what you do with wine tasting, no? Spit or swallow?
No. It is what you do in wine tasting.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
we digress.
Yes.
Majorly.
let's get back on track. Now, dress code and the future of real estate. So I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a major change in dress code in the 10 years. So when I first started in an agency, I had to wear a full suit, like not different colors, like you can switch up suits these days, with a tie, and you had to be clean shaven. So much so, one day one of my colleagues, who's now actually one of my best mates, Charlie, he came into the office with a bit of stubble or a shadow, and his director made him go and get a razor from the Sainsbury's down the road.
Really?
And go into the bathroom and shave.
That's pathetic.
I know. And now, you know, with us, all us three have beards. I know. It was like that back then.
So I remember if you would walk into head office, so every month there was, I don't know, 100, 120 people that would get together. Everyone would give their overview. If you walked into that room, you dare not, but if you walked into that room with no tie, you're as good as walking in there naked.
Yeah.
Like the looks that you would get without wearing a tie. And I actually think Daniel on purpose used to not wear a tie to try to be different. But it's changed, you know, from where we are now. You know, we had a meeting today, and it looked like I just walked in from, you know, with a mate from the street.
How did it go?
We didn't get the instruction. No,
it was fine. It was fine, and it's been eye-opening. So and I've been waffling on about it. I sprained my ankle on the weekend, and the whole week I've been wearing trainers.
Haven't heard the end of it, have we?
Yeah, not had the end of it.
That's all we've heard about.
I've been wearing trainers, and all the appointments I've been going on, I've kind of been semi-apologising to the person I'm meeting, saying, you know, sorry, I've dressed down a little bit. I'm wearing trainers.
But they're not like Laura Piana nice trainers. They're like someone.
They're
nice.
dunks.
Looks like you're a rapper from America.
Yeah, but these are hip, Alex. This
is what cool looks like. And you know, but it's interesting. They've been saying in response to me saying sorry, I've dressed down a little bit. Like it's so cool. Like it's so relaxed. And they've actually said like
what did you think they were saying instead?
I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but I felt like obliged to apologise. And one of them actually said, "Well, you guys at DDRE are quite cool, aren't you? You're like trendy chic." And that was
most of us are.
Most of us. Are you insinuating that someone's not?
What, with a
Don't
jumper
make things awkward.
I'd give you the instruction if you came into mine.
I'm wearing a suit, right?
I was wearing that, so
I'm wearing a suit. It's that you can't. Whilst I think the game is changing, and you can definitely wear what. Well, not you. You can definitely wear. You can definitely wear what you're wearing to go and meet someone, but there isn't. You can't move away from the fact that wearing a suit, you feel smart. You then portray yourself as smart. You know, you dress smart, you act smart, or whatever the saying is.
Yeah. Dress for the job you want, dress to impress.
But I think a lot of it is it's breaking down barriers. So we tried to break down barriers.
I'm going to throw out quotes and it might make me seem clever.
We tried to break down barriers, don't we?
Yeah.
And I've always been...
Ice break.
And going actually back to probably about a year ago, I was having some new critter windows put into the house I was renovating. And anyway, I had about 3 or 4 window companies come around and quote. And I'm always analysing people. I love like watching how they sit, what they wear, and everything like that. And one guy came in, and he was so uncomfortable in his suit. You could tell, you know, like some people looked
as it didn't fit,
really uncomfortable, sweating. It was hot. It was summer. You know, it was 30 degrees outside. He's hot. You know, he was sweating. He was sat there. He was playing with his collar, his tie the whole time. He looked so uncomfortable. Right. But also, I felt like it creates a bit of a barrier sometimes, depending on who you're actually seeing. 100%.
Yeah, correct. I agree. It can alienate
it's like
you
him versus
in some
me,
instances.
or them versus us. You know.
Do you think our clients want us in ties and suits?
Look, I like you used to have to wear a tie, and I think it was in one of the last companies I used to work for, where unless it was 30 degrees plus, and you used to sit there looking at the thermostat on a boiling hot day, and as it tipped on that 31, you were then allowed to remove your tie. You know, you're allowed to undo your top button. No, nothing else. You know, no 2 or 3, you know, buttons down, but you're allowed to remove your tie.
So would you undo 2 or 3 buttons to go
honestly,
to meet?
the amount of people that you know, but the amount of people you'd go and then see, and they'd be like, "Mate, take your tie off. You must be roasting." You know, and I felt sometimes it creates a bit of a barrier. It creates a bit of them versus us. And look, I believe that there has to be a smart element, and I agree with you, Benji. I think wearing a suit gives you. You feel like you've got a bit of a superpower sometimes. If you're looking good, you're feeling good, you're going to perform better. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I mean, in answer to your question, you're saying, and you know, further to what Oli's saying. So we did some filming yesterday for something separate, and one of the questions was about the dress code. And the first thing that I do in the morning when I'm getting changed and I'm deciding my outfit, I will look at my diary. And my outfit will reflect who I'm meeting.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I'm meeting, I've got some friends that own apartments, homes in the neighborhood that I work in, that I know when I go there, they'll be wearing, tracksuit and a t-shirt. Yeah. If I rock up like this, it's just not gonna work. So I will dress down based on if I'm meeting someone young, cool, trendy, crypto, tech entrepreneur. They don't want someone in a suit and a tie.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, for example, the reason I dressed in a suit today was because I was showing a house at £3.5 million, and I know the person that was coming to see the house owns a £27.5 million house that they're looking to sell. So I wanted to impress them. So in answer to the question, do they want to see you in a shirt, suit and tie? It depends on who the person is. If you're going to meet someone who's perhaps not being ageist, but maybe someone over 60, 70s, slightly elderly that would expect the respect that you would dress smartly, then for sure you'd go in, you might even put a tie on.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting the future of real estate is you never wear a suit, you never wear a tie. You do, it's just you tailor it to who you're meeting ultimately.
And I think we've all got different personalities. We've got Ollie Hamilton, who's part of our
So suave,
such a slick guy. But he,
I know I'm joking, but who tell people who
so
he
Ollie Hamilton is another advisor at DDRE. We all love Ollie, don't we? He's a great character. He's long, luscious locks.
The prince.
The prince, as we call him. But he is a suit. He's
double-breasted.
He's a double-breasted tie.
Briefcase. Does he have a briefcase?
No, that's Ingalls.
I've got a bit of a briefcase. But he pulls it off, and that's him. That's his personality.
Yes.
That's what people will know him for.
Yeah.
And I think we've all got different personalities. And I think ultimately, when you go in and see a client, I don't think they rate you on what you're dressed, on how you dress. As long as your personality, your professionalism, your advice comes across in the correct way, people buy into people. Anyway, going back to just the quick analogy of the window guy that came out.
Oh yeah.
So we had 3 people come out, 2 of them in suits, and I felt there was a little bit of you could tell they're salespeople. Yeah. I'm here to sell you window sales. I want to sell you my. Another guy came out, jeans, nice. I think it was a Ralph Lauren shirt, looked cool, relaxed, talked me through different process. I felt like already I bonded. Already I bonded.
Yeah.
And for me, there was no. I think he's more professional because he's wearing a suit, and he's not because he's wearing a shirt. There was nothing about that, So yeah, I think I agree with you, Benji. I think you sometimes do tailor it. If there is an older generation or something in there, you kind of do tailor it slightly, and who you're kind of viewing and
and I think also, ultimately we are an extension of our clients, so we will be representing their home, and we are marketing ourselves. Not just what we say and our track records, but how we look and how we appear. So when we go and pitch on a super prime listing at 10, 15, 20 million pounds, whatever the number is, we're representing them as the seller. So if I turn up looking like a slob and I've got a 30 million pound viewing, it's not going to represent the seller or the property well, because they've appointed me to sell their home. But if I turn up and I look slick and my clothes fit perfectly and I'm not sweating and I feel comfortable, I'm in control, it's going to help sell. I genuinely believe it's going to help sell the home better. So from that first time the buyer walks through the threshold, they see me, a nice firm handshake, I'm looking the part, and I go in and I walk in with confidence into the home. It flows seamlessly. Whereas if I turn up, I'm, a bit overweight, shirt's untucked, shoes are scruffy, hair's all over the place, beard's not, trimmed, I think it starts the viewing on the back foot, in my opinion.
Do you think that also maybe the point where we are in our careers has something to do with that? Do you think, if you were starting out, if it was your first day in real estate, you probably couldn't get away with wearing jeans and a t-shirt and trainers on a viewing? But given we're all at 10 or more than 10 years in so far, do you think that has something to do with it? Like our track record speaks for itself, hence why we could maybe dress down a little bit. Yeah, because our experience.
It's a good question. I think it does. I think
I agree.
But then again, if let's say you were interviewing 3 people tomorrow, and one of the interviewees turns up and he's smart but casual. You know, he's got some nice stuff on. He's rocking it well. He's confident. Are you gonna think any less?
What do you mean though? What would he be wearing?
Well, let's just say
her.
he's wearing trousers. Let's say not suit trousers, but they're clean pressed trousers. He's wearing a fresh pair of Benji's Dunks that he's wearing, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
I'm a dad now as well, by the way. So, you know. And he's wearing, let's just say it's a nice jumper, and he's got a jacket on. Okay, so he looks good. It's not too informal. It's not too formal.
He's come for an interview.
Okay. But he's confident. He performs really well at the interview. He's well spoken. He knows his stuff. He's done his research. Are you going to think any differently to him compared to the 2 people who have turned up in a suit and tie, and with a pinned up tie and everything else?
The first thing I'll say, I think interviews are awful. I hate the idea of interviews.
Yeah.
How can you, maybe you have a second interview, and I'm saying this from experience because I've previously hired people or been involved in the hiring process to bring people into my team at the previous firm that I was at, and you meet someone for an hour, 2 hours, and they are amazing. They say everything you want to hear. They tick every box. And then it's just like 2 months in, you're like, where's that person? That's not the person that I interviewed.
It's probably the manager's fault though, isn't it?
Maybe. But it's difficult. You're making a snap decision on someone for to be there for a year, 2 years, and you're meeting them for 2 hours. It's difficult. But in answer to the question, no, I don't think how they turn up, unless they're not, if this is median, this is one end of the scale, that's one end of the scale. As long as they're within that, so if they're wearing Dunks, if they're... Okay. Yeah. As long as they're not too far away from centre. And I mean, it's difficult because if someone's like really wacky and they turn up in very eccentric clothes, I don't think it would change much for me. As long as they're respectful and in their approach, I don't think it would.
I agree.
Would deter me.
No, I really agree, and I think I'd agree.
I think it would deter me.
It would. In what sense?
Okay,
if they came to an interview dressed in
what I described.
In a suit and a shirt.
No, like in Dunks.
Right.
And like trousers with a jumper and a jacket.
Yeah.
For this sort of role.
Interesting. Okay.
I think I'll be put off immediately.
Yeah.
Why?
Really interesting.
Why?
Unless they had a track record. If they were new though, I'd have nothing else going for them. Nothing else going for them. That's wrong. I didn't mean like that. I meant like if they had, no track record, they wanted to become an agent.
Yeah. So I was going to mention...
Dress like an agent.
I was going to mention that point before. When you say dress like an agent...
What does an agent look like?
If you're 21, you've just graduated from university, or you were doing a weekend job and you didn't, and you want to go into real estate, how the hell do they know what to wear?
Well, go on Google or go on like Staff Let's Flats.
No, but
Google agent, or it's all over. So
do 21-year-olds own a suit? I mean, I know this is a crazy question.
I owned a suit when I was 21. Yeah,
but because 10 years ago you would go to an event, a function, perhaps wearing a wedding or whatever, wearing a suit. Nowadays, because life has, maybe COVID played a part of it, because everyone's dressing down. It's a bit more flexible. Working from home is a lot more common, so therefore people don't wear suits as much. Wearing a shirt and jeans and smart shoes is perhaps acceptable. Do many people at university have a suit?
Look, I think it's acceptable in certain instances. Like if you're in tech, if you're a techie or a tech head, or like what?
Tech head.
A tech head.
Right. Okay.
A tech head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you speaking with a South African accent? Looking at me, calling me a deckhead.
No. I'm just saying, a tech head.
Isn't that Jabuddy G?
Yeah. How do you know Jabuddy G?
Who doesn't know Jabuddy G?
I love Jabuddy G.
What's the program? I do like that.
People just do nothing.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. You remind me of him a little bit.
Oh dear. That's funny.
Anyway, like if you're like a techie or a creative, then it's cool. then it's kind of acceptable. It's kind of normal.
Yeah.
But why though? But why? Why should there be?
Just
because
it's create. I kind of agree to you in a way. We should be creative as agents. We get creative. Look at the video
we're
you did recently
100%, we're different.
for your Portland Place £13.5 million, 5,000 square foot lateral apartment listing, which you can call me about if you want to buy something.
We're not going to go about the audio.
But
The fourth plug.
Look how creative you got. You got a band in there. You did this really cool video.
I've never thought of it like that.
We should be creative. We should be.
Why?
I agree. So there's things are changing, and this is why it ties into the future of real estate.
Yeah.
The two I think were really well interlinked. Which is when the voters, those two topics drew. I was like, oh, sick.
Yeah,
like,
Excuse the pun, it was a tie.
Yeah, it was.
it was a tie. Yeah.
Yeah, a bow tie.
So, what was the future of real estate?
The future of real estate. What do
you think it looks like?
Can I tell you?
He's got a golden nugget.
An absolutely brilliant conversation I had 2 weeks ago. Blew my mind. Okay.
No, sorry.
Going off that route again. So about 2 weeks ago, sat down with one of my clients, his son. He's an 18-year-old at university, incredibly bright. And we went out for a bit of lunch, and he was telling me about the whole NFT world. And honestly, an hour later, my mind was blown. So is
that still a thing in NFT?
Massively.
Really?
So he, incredibly bright young man.
I think Donald Trump just released more NFTs yesterday.
Incredibly bright young man. So
Donald Trump's in the NFT business.
Mm-hmm.
He's bought and sold artwork, so luxury art in the NFT world. And honestly, it just blew my mind with how, there's this virtual world effectively where you can go out and buy cars, artwork, real estate, and people trade and sell. And we're not talking small amounts of money. People will buy
millions.
And he really believes that in the next, 10, 20 years, we'll almost have reality, and we have a augmented reality.
Like a metaverse.
Yeah, like a metaverse where literally you almost put on your headset and you're in your 10 Downing Street because you've purchased that and you own that in the NFT world. And you get into your Lamborghini, which is your NFT, and you've got your artwork on the wall.
Do you mean like you'd get home from work and you'd log on to like a Grand Theft Auto type game and then you'd have your own world?
So
Sims.
So right,
yeah.
Silly me. I was like, so it sounds like you've got the Sims, yeah? He's like, yeah, but
well, so isn't the more
in a much more intelligent way?
The more poignant point, not so much the future of real estate, it's the future of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of it circles around money and crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum and those sort of things, because NFTs and
cryptocurrency
real estate in the metaverse is all done in crypto.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's interesting we're talking about the future of real estate, but I think very much it's also the future of where the world is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is where?
So one thing for me with the property game of this, I think within the next 10 years, I think blockchain will be massive.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Well, I think the way that we do we do all of our legal system, and transactions is absolutely archaic, way behind other countries, but also archaic, where it takes 8-9 weeks to get a property through, where the same inquiries were done 4 years ago and they're exactly the same, or the same searches we've got to wait 3 weeks for, the same as the one 2 doors away it's recently sold.
And you've got a lawyer using a
fax machine and having to get the download land regis and wait for this and do that and X, Y, and wait for management packs and paperwork. It's just ridiculous.
Why blockchain? Why would that help?
Well, blockchain is would be more instant transactional. It's a data portal effectively that will be created where you can download all of that information within a click of a button, and it's all in front of you, and then literally hopefully by the end of the day you do a transaction. And the blockchain will also help from the currency side of how quickly money can be transacted. And I'm not an expert, and I've done probably a lot more research than a lot of people, but I believe at some point we'll get to a point where it's a click, buy,
100%,
and an hour later you own it.
So I've got two of my best mates started a new business. They were both chartered surveyors. They were doing valuations for 2 very large firms. I won't name names, and they both left and they set up a business which essentially automates valuations. So nice. The big corporates, it could take to do one valuation a week to 2 weeks to do a valuation. And they were in their jobs doing the same role, thinking, well, hang on, a lot of what we're doing for the same thing is very different. 70 to 80% of each report is the same, and I'm having to repeat it each time, probably very similar to each property transaction. A lot of what you go through and what you do is the same. So they thought, hang on a second, this is a niche in the market. Let's automate it. Nice. So they spent, I think it was 2 years, thinking what is automated and building a platform that automates it. At the click of a button, they will have, I think it's 80% of a valuation report automated. Nice. Which saves 80% of the time of the valuers. And I think it will get to the point where, for example, solicitors will have the same.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing as well, of the future of real estate, I think you were touching on it, the blockchain and those sort of things. And I know we've spoken about it a few times upstairs, and we're thinking of creating certain things. I do think we will get to a point when we all have a following, for example, 30, 40, 50,000 people that follow us on our social handles because they like us, they respect us, and they trust us. We could go to a building, for example, and you'll probably hear, you probably might know which path I'm going down because we've spoken about it. I'll be, hi guys, I'm here in Maida Vale. I've just invested £5,000 in this block of flats. I'm going to add the link in. Feel free to invest in it as well. They'll click the link.
Yeah.
They'll pay £5,000 and they'll be in that fund that just buys the block of flats.
Yeah.
And I think that is not too far away from, I think automating a lot of things might be a few years away. I think that is quite soon.
Yeah, it's
kind of like not a GoFundMe type thing, but something like that that will be fed through the blockchain, and people can invest in, some people have £5,000. Not everyone has £1 million to go and buy the flat itself.
Yeah.
But if you have 50,000 people that follow you, you could get, my maths isn't going to be great here, but if everyone invests £5,000, that's £2.5 million, I think.
What about globally? What do you think is going to happen to our industry globally in terms of us connecting with other real estate professionals across the globe and doing deals?
I think it's quite obvious in now that people trust people. And once you've got one advisor that you know and you trust, we can do business throughout the world. We have connections. We know who to speak to in other countries. We have the expertise. We especially now are looking at different marketplaces weekly, daily, and being educated upon those, and speaking to brokers out there. We had a broker again, on Monday, come from America again, talk to a marketplace.
What was her name again?
Raquel. I can't remember her surname, Raquel, but she was fantastic.
They're always great, those meetings.
From San Diego.
Yeah, that's correct. And she was telling us about marketplace.
San Diego.
But for us now, so now when we have a client, and funny enough, one of my clients recently, we've just exchanged on an apartment for. She spoke to me the other day. She was like, actually, my mum's might buy a villa out in Italy. Can you help?
Who said that?
My retained client who just purchased.
What's her phone number? An email address? I'm happy to do it.
Hey, no stealing.
But she was like, Benji. Look, we trust you. Can we go and buy something in Italy?
That's it. That's exactly what's happening.
Well, so in answer to the question, I assume you were leading us down a garden path because we are very fortunate that we have tech to support us in ADVSR, which essentially allows us as individuals to genuinely be global real estate agents. Whereas before you had to work in a big corporate to have access to other people overseas, or you wouldn't think outside of the box because you'd be refined to your patch.
Correct.
And you'd have someone at head office that was the liaison to the country, Italy or wherever it was, and you'd have to pass it over. Now, through ADVSR, which we have access to, which has 23,000 brokers on globally, they can list their properties on this platform in my details. That, for example, if I've got a client when I'm in Miami on holiday and I do an Instagram story saying in Miami, my client can say to me, oh, I've got something to sell, or I'm looking to buy in Miami. I can go and do that deal myself with the person that sits on our platform who is trusted, liked and respected. I can call Raquel, let's say San Diego, and say, hey, met in London. I know you sit on ADVSR. I've got a client that's looking in San Diego. Are you able to help me?
Yeah.
And, when our clients come to us, they're employing not just me, but my extensive network that I have access to. Exactly. And we're very fortunate at DDRE Global that we can plug into ADVSR, which I believe at the moment we're the only company in the UK that has access to it, that can upload our listings to it. It's super powerful. I don't need an office in America to get my listings to every state in the US.
Yeah.
And hence
DDRE Global.
And hence the DDRE Global. And it's powerful for us.
Massively. Yeah.
It's powerful.
We've seen that, and I think we've doubled down on it, and we've gone for that, haven't we?
So something else that you just said, Benji, you talked about an office, and obviously a lot of corporates, the world that we used to live in, you weren't an estate agent unless you had a high street office. And people could come in from the front door and you have your properties.
Do we have a high street office?
We don't have a high street office.
How many people walk in and buy a property these days, though? I mean, for the people listening, if you're in a high street office, how much of your business comes from walk-ins?
Not much.
1%. Maybe not even 1%.
But I know this isn't real estate led. Obviously this podcast is about real estate, but this might not lead to us selling our listings. I think, I know Daniel has these visions that we might have another room like this, for example, that will be big white walls that you can project our listings on. You can have meetings in. Perhaps in 5 years, the conversation won't be, do you have a high street office? Will be, do you have a studio space?
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Maybe, for content
I think that's a
creation.
great shout.
Because
like this,
if everything is digital, well, not everything, if things are moving towards digital and footfall to local offices is dwindling, because who walks into an estate agent's office nowadays and says, hi, here's my name and details, can you let me know of anything? Doesn't happen. And if anything, probably estate agents probably dread that when someone walks into their office because they're sat upstairs, doing whatever they want to do, and then have to go downstairs and speak to someone. It might be in a few years' time, well, do you have a studio space? That's what might define.
I think it's
having
great.
Having an office presence.
That's the first business as well, real estate business in the UK that has a studio space.
So look, I mean, it has to be, and I know it's the future of real estate, and it kind of ties in nicely about the office space. But ultimately, I can do, apart from viewings and those sort of things, call outs and I can do that from a coffee shop. I can do it from home.
Yeah.
The office has to offer something to us. Has to inspire us to want to come into the office and leverage off it.
Yeah.
And it has to add value. Like, this adds value to my life. This podcast, upstairs, the studio room. These guys, it adds value to my life. Who doesn't add value to your life?
Well, I don't know about these guys.
What's your buddy G?
Just kidding. Don't
Pulling the switch.
No, but it's true, isn't it?
And that's the end of episode 4.
Massively true. Massively true. Yeah. And that's our last podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody. But no, it's completely true. Linus is gone now. He's actually going. But it's true. And also, there's so many people that used to say to me, I used to dread walking into an estate agency office where you walk in, everyone just immediately turns their head to you, stares at you,
pray,
like a piece of meat, and it's no one wants to do that anymore.
No,
everyone's too busy for it. You want to you want to do meetings in relaxed atmospheres where you can really build relationships with people, get to know people properly, and it's not just a transaction; it's a relationship game. You know. Another question I've got for you both, actually.
Hit me.
Fractional ownership. So recently, probably 6 months to a year or so, there's been a few companies out there now which are looking at fractional ownership. And fractional ownership, for those of you that don't know, is what Benji was touching on earlier. Let's say you have a £10 million apartment in Mayfair. For £2.5 million, you can buy 25% stake in that £10 million asset, and you can use it for 25% of the year. And it's like a booking system. I don't know exactly how they manage it.
Yeah, you can use it say twice a month.
So you kind of get a pied a terre, and for your £2.5 million, you've got a £10 million house. Thoughts?
It's not for me. It's not for me. And I don't know if it has a future, to be honest. It's a weird one. I think it's trying to take off for a while now, and it hasn't really kicked off. It's weird. You kind of want... The thing about property is it's meant to be your home. And it's not your home if it's like an Airbnb. You might as well book an Airbnb. And another good thing about real estate is that you own it, it goes up in value, and you can rent it and get a monthly income. Not a lot of assets can do that, and you can physically touch it and see it. And you own freehold, so everything above and below land. But that's not the case with fractional ownership. You can't rent it out. Okay, it might go up in value, but you can sell your position. It's not that liquid though, because it's so niche. Don't know, it's a weird one. You're sharing it. It's not really your home. Your book won't be there when you come back from next holiday. Do you know what I mean?
Take your clothes out.
Like if you've got a villa in France and it's yours and your family's, you're going to leave your swimming trunks there, your towels. You're going to leave your rubber ring there and your armbands and your lilo, and it will still be there in the cupboard. Whereas, if you're sharing it with strangers.
I bet you need armbands to swim.
You definitely need an armband and a light and a rubber ring, don't you still?
Why do you say that? Why'd you say that?
Do you wear Speedos?
You're definitely
What's wrong with wearing
You're a
Speedos?
Speedo guy.
You are definitely
What is wrong with wearing
Speedo.
Speedos? There might be someone that's a fan of ours that might wear Speedos, might be wearing Speedos right now on the way to the beach.
If you are watching
to us
and
in
you're
the car.
wearing
Yeah.
Speedos, I
Please
will
comment.
pay you £100 if you're on the beach
And
listening
please
to this
comment.
in Speedos.
I'd love to comment. Yeah, please comment.
And Alex
And you
will-
might have offended them.
and send the photographic evidence to Alex.
What is wrong with budgie smugglers?
Nothing. We digress.
We digress.
Sorry.
Going
If
back
you're wearing
to
Speedos,
going
I'm
back
sorry.
to your question, I agree with you. Personally, for me, it wouldn't be for me. I like my own space. I like my stuff.
Yeah.
However, I do think, trying to find my words carefully, I think people like to live outside of their means. So if you can invest £2.5 million into a £10 million home and you can claim that £10 million home is yours,
But it's not.
But it kind of
it
is.
It
Kind
kind of
You
is.
still get to entertain
It's
it
like,
and
you
say.
can
post on Instagram.
That part's mine.
Yeah, but you
can
use
post
the
on
whole
Insta-
hat. You
you
use the whole apartment.
The toilet's mine.
No, but I disagree. The whole.
It's not.
You own-
25% of it is.
Yeah, you still get to use it. You still get to hold the coolest parties.
Yeah, I'm
you
not.
know.
I can see how it would appeal to people.
Would
Definitely.
there be a lease as well then in that instance? There must be some sort of agreement.
A lease, yeah.
Like you
'cause
can't party probably.
No, I
Well,
think
form
whilst
part
it's
of-
there, effectively you do what you want. I don't know how it works with
But
like if you
the
want
o-
to do a renovation, you don't like the wall colour. I don't know how. As I said, there's a
Yeah.
lot
But
of
the
nuances.
owner-
Exactly.
There's lots
But
of nuances.
hang on, the
in between
ownership
it.
Yeah.
structure of an apartment wouldn't supersede the rules and regulations of the building if it was in,
No,
a-
of
in an
course
apartment
not.
block.
No, of course.
So, whether it comes to partying,
Yeah.
whether it's the neighbour that is upstairs that owns 100% of the apartment
Yeah.
or you own 25, it doesn't change.
No.
I wouldn't think that they can just party and do whatever they want. I don't
Yeah.
think
It's
it's
interesting.
I think it could be the way forward, and I know
Yeah.
shared ownership is quite a big thing. I think it's usually, and I don't want to be misconstrued here, but I think it's usually at the lower end of the market where it's a good stepping stone to get on get on the property ladder.
Yeah.
I think it's usually shared ownership is done in conjunction with the government.
Yeah.
And then over time you can buy the government out.
Yeah.
At the top end of the market, I can't
But
see it.
let's put another point to you both. Okay, you've got £1 million. Okay, you've worked really hard, and you've now saved £1 million in the bank, and you're like, okay,
Okay.
Talia, Harriet, that we're going to get another place. Okay, and you have to decide one place across the whole of the globe. Okay, but no, that's not the question. But the question is,
No, I'm good. I'm driving.
what the question is okay, you then want to go and buy a place in Greece. You want to go and buy a place in Barcelona. Now you could actually buy 4 places. You could have your place in central London. You could have your place in Greece. You could have your place in New York. So you can have 4 places instead of 1. And
That's
now actually,
interesting.
I can go next weekend. I go to Barca, and then
Do you
we're
own
going
a
to spend a
fractional
week.
ownership,
No, I
company
don't.
or
But
something?
I actually fully agree. But I'm just putting out.
It's a good point.
I don't know.
What's the
I don't-
positives?
I don't know.
That's
I
a
just-
massive positive.
Look,
There are to some people. There's
cool.
going to be a market for it.
Yeah.
Look, some people bought fractional ownership,
Look,
but
it's.
it's not for me. Like I
I
wouldn't-
think I don't
personally
know
would not.
enough about it to be able to say.
Also, that
If you said to me, the legal structure is done, there's nothing for you to worry about. If you want to sell it, you can sell your position in it.
Yeah.
You set the dates, the dates are yours, and you have nothing to worry. Because obviously at the moment, it's like, I don't know much about it. So if you say to me, actually, there's nothing you need to worry about, and you have 4 homes rather than 1, and you can only be in one place at any one time,
course.
so whether you own 1
Yeah.
or 4, it doesn't change anything. Maybe it's...
I don't know much about it. To be honest with you, I don't know. I can't answer the question.
Yeah, it's
Is it
interesting.
still
What
an
would you do?
asset? How liquid is
What
it?
would you do, Mr. Shared Ownership guy?
It's fractional ownership.
Oli.ingles/shared ownership.com.
I'll take the fractional ownership bit. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think I agree with your points. I think the hard thing is it's like times of the year. Like you say, oh, I'd love to spend Christmas there. But the problem is if the other 3 people want to spend Christmas there,
So then it defeats the object.
who gets
of-
Christmas there? Do you do it once every 4 years?
Yeah, I don't know how.
And
it
then you're buying
works.
something and
I
you
want to
can't...
buy in the summer because I want to go away when it's hot weather, but actually everyone else is booked. I don't know, and it's a very good point. It's a really interesting concept. I think there will always be a market for it.
I agree.
There will definitely be a market for it. Whether or not the market's correct for you, I don't know how it works with loans. Could you get £2.5 million loan when the asset's worth 10 million? I don't know how the debt structure works on it. I don't know how the booking structure. At the moment, no.
Because it's unknown.
It's unknown, but there is something. There is something there. There is something.
So
there.
there's some good questions from you. I'm conscious of time. Should we have some questions from
from the people.
Joe
Actually,
Public?
There's a gentleman on LinkedIn who sent me a nice message with a question, really long
What was
question.
the question?
So Blake Penn in the Cotswolds, he says, I am 2 years into my career, having worked for a small family-run business and now a corporate, currently in the Cotswolds. My goal is to get into the super prime and prime markets / London. I'm aware experience is very valuable and I'm willing to put in the work. London is, of course, a lot more expensive to live in. I would be super interested to know all of your thoughts / advice. I grew up in Australia and I am familiar with their model / he loves a / this guy, brokerage style approach.
His website.
/ brokerage style approach. You guys are leading by example. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Blake Penn. Big question, I know. Any thoughts would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Blake. There's a lot of questions.
A lot to digest in that.
That's like another podcast.
All I've heard is /
That's next month's podcast, next week's
So
podcast.
he's basically saying, how do we get into the super prime market?
One second, it's like a bit of an essay. So, no offense, Blake. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah,
I'm 2 years into my
appreciate it.
career, worked in a small family-run business, now corporate, working in the Cotswolds. My goal is to get into the prime super prime market in London. Experience is very valuable and willing to put in the work. London is, of course,
You're reading it all again. Why don't you
Yeah.
just stop at one section of it and we can digest.
Right, let's just start the first bit.
How do you get into the super
He's
prime?
interested to know all of our thoughts or
Tips.
advice.
Okay.
Tits?
Tip.
You saying tips or
Tips.
Tips.
Right, first
Tips.
tip. Okay, first tip. First tip for Blake. Blake, first
Give
of
him
all,
a tip.
the first thing you need to do, you need to get into the London marketplace. To start
Yeah, you
building
do.
your career to get towards the prime and super prime marketplaces, that's where inevitably you want to be.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
forget, shouldn't be everyone's goal.
Yeah.
But if you want to get into that marketplace,
The
the
best
first thing you have
agents
to do,
are
you
in
have to
central London.
get in here now.
Best
know-
of the best.
you know
the
what
creme
they-
de la creme.
You know what they do in
central
America?
London.
When they want to break into a building, they rent in
Excuse me? You're like helping robbers now, are you?
break in. When I say break in, is in
We
making
do not endorse breaking into property.
when they want to make an impact and a mark on sales or rentals within a building, they will rent in that building. So they meet every person in that building and familiar face. So they will make an investment in themselves. So for Blake, I would, take the leap of faith and invest, move into London, get a job somewhere, one of the better corporates, and you can say that you live in central London. And when you go to pitch and you meet people and say, oh, where do you live? You're not saying Cotswolds. Obviously, it would be difficult.
Cotswolds is a good market.
It's a great
Yeah, I was
market.
gonna say,
market.
don't-
But sorry,
you said-
I thought
very
he
good
was saying
market.
he wants to be in London.
He said he
does.
partly said he wanted
But
to do
why?
that.
Actually, why?
What? Yeah, think
why
about
not?
it, Blake.
Why not smash
become
the
the prime and super prime
in
market in
Cotswolds?
There is
Yeah.
a super prime market.
Smash
There
it
is a
out
super
there.
prime
It's a
market.
great
in
You
market.
know,
Cotswolds.
Raquel, she
Great
gave me
market.
inspiration. She was saying that she specifically focuses on a location,
Yeah.
rather than spreading herself thin and wide.
Yeah.
She goes to her kids go to the same school as all of her clients.
Super.
She goes
And
to the
she gives a
same
welcome
gym.
pack.
She gives a welcome pack, even if they don't buy with her, if they buy from another realtor.
I love
she
this
knows her
advice.
neighbourhood back to front,
was
all these
amazing.
different parks and rivers and lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she will say, I know you didn't buy with me, but I'm a neighbour. I live
Love
locally. Here's my guide.
That is the best.
You should do that.
is
You should learn your
quality.
neighbourhood really well. Maybe you would
I've
do
been
better.
trying for 10 years.
But no, Blake has to immerse himself in where he wants
yeah.
to be.
I've
You
got
know.
I've got a quick question.
I feel like we didn't touch upon that very much.
Blake, call us and we'll spend more
Yeah.
time.
I
Yeah.
had a question that came through. Let me get it up.
I've got a few.
From
Mm.
where's it gone?
Okay, while you're doing that, this is from the Burning Monkey. When helping a difficult client,
Oh, save the monkey.
how do you make sure they stay interested in the property? I think he's talking about buyers. When helping a difficult client, I think he's saying buyer. I think he means buyer. How do you make sure they stay interested in the property if they're difficult?
If they're getting cold feet, maybe throughout the process.
Well, the way I read difficult would be someone who's a bit tricky to deal with if they're a bit
What, on a
aggressive
first
or
viewing?
abrupt. I don't know, he hasn't said. Or she said.
Look,
The
again, I
Burning
think.
Monkey hasn't said.
Go on, Ben.
No, you go.
They haven't said.
I was going to say, look, we tour so many different types of people around, don't we? You know, some people are really chatty, they like to converse with you. Some people you can read instantly and they don't want a really big full sales spiel. And then so you point out certain elements, but you give them time to wander around. Some people are very emotional and you can tell that from the start. So you're painting pictures of what they'll be like with their family in the kitchen or little ones in the garden, etc. But you have to, a good salesperson reads who they're pitching to
100%.
within a minute.
Or even before.
Yeah.
But even before
it
they've
should be in
turned
the
up.
You know pretty
qualification.
quickly.
Exactly, you
Yeah.
know
In the
already.
first conversation and you're qualifying them and you're asking
Yeah.
them questions, look, don't get me wrong, there are prickly characters out there that are difficult to break down, that's difficult to break the ice. But if you do your job correctly, I mean, naturally, we're doing the best by our clients in pre-qualifying anyone that comes into the home. So by the time they step foot through the threshold, we should know a little bit about them.
Yeah.
And that's where you hopefully will build a rapport with them.
Yeah.
And then when you're in person...
Can I make it really easy for the burning monkey?
Yeah.
That could actually be their name. They might identify as a monkey. God knows.
And they're burning.
Listen, like if they're not interested, don't try and re-engage them. They're not interested. That's it. Simple as. I used to be a broker. I used to sell products over the telephone, working in the city before I was an agent, and I would hang up on people quicker than they could hang up on me. I like to focus on people who are interested. It was all about finding the lead who's interested.
Isn't that from Wolf of Wall Street? Where he hangs up and he's like, why did he hang up on me? And he hangs up again. It's like, well, do you want to buy this off me? And he just hangs up. And the person's like, fine, I'll just buy it from you. Well, just tell me what it is, I'll buy it.
No, that's a bit unrealistic. And what I'm talking about, when I was cold calling people, I'll be like, hi, it's Alex calling from XYZ. Want to send you our sales brochure. You know, blah,
and what
blah, blah.
did XYZ sell?
Story for another day.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of that company before. XYZ.
They weren't called XYZ. It was a funny time in my life. I don't really want to get into it.
Okay.
Yeah. If it was like a dream. Anyway, so if someone's not interested, you want to not focus on that, but you want to focus on people that are interested. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. Some of the best salespeople that I know, or agents that I know, are the people who can sift out the people who are serious and who are not serious.
Yeah.
Your time is so valuable, especially for us who have no salaries, right? We need to be very careful with where we spend our time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you want to spend your time with people who are serious and going to buy from you or rent from you.
Yeah.
Fine. Quick fire.
Oh, okay.
Quick fire question.
Quick fire
Just conscious of
questions,
time
1 minute
from Samuel Vaden, not sure how to pronounce it, but he's a great supporter of all of us, I know. Favorite tailor.
Shout out Samuel. I know him.
Favorite tailor and or shop in London.
Wow, cool. Man, I really like Reese. I'm a Reese
The
guy.
Three Intrapreneurs jumper shop is very good.
Sorry, Ollie was just...
Oh, sorry. It's not
Type
nice
up
when you
it.
get cut off, is it? Sorry, Ollie.
I mean, I'll just quick. I mean, I'm a Reese. I'm not really too flashy, to be honest with you. I think I
love a
like
bit of
Reese. I like a
Do
bit
you
of
have the
Reese.
quarter
and
zips?
I am flashy.
I had the
am
quarter zips, trousers.
Three-quarter length trousers.
Yeah, like stuff in there.
I used to, with the little dangly bits of, I used to love them. Oh,
I can imagine
It's
you
like
there.
at that weird age,
That
like when
was-
you're coming into
yeah.
puberty,
Should we
you like
go-
wear three-quarter legs like this.
Yeah.
Should we go and evaluate pods? Did you have pods?
Your mum buys you
Mate,
three-quarter
three-quarter lengths,
Did you have the trainers pods?
No.
You don't have pods.
No,
so
but
it
no,
had like the,
mate, did you have your
the
three-quarter
bubbly-
lengths, but also still have socks, which were like longer socks? So you still had like longer socks. You didn't have like...
I think that's a thing
it's
now.
like just combined
think
together.
I think they've actually come back into
They are
fashion.
back there, but
with,
I mean, they're back in.
Vans.
Should we go on to evaluation wearing our three-quarter legs?
Well, according to you can.
No.
Well, you can go into.
So
you
you're
can go
a
into an
Reese-
interview.
I'm a Reese-
I
Reese
like
kind
it.
of
Did
guy.
he say
I'm
that?
a
You can
Reese
go into an
fan.
interview.
I'm a Reese
My
fan. I like
for
this stuff.
suits, although I'm kind of going through a phase where I'm
No, don't give
hoping
fashion
to-
advice, Benji.
No. Going through a phase where I'm hopefully changing my fashion. For me, suit supply for suits is a good go-to.
Nice.
So it's good. It's decent.
Outside of that, I will
Yeah.
not give advice to anyone because it's not my strength, and I play to my strength.
Yeah.
So
Also,
Alex,
just quickly,
over to you.
With a suit, just very quickly, with a suit, it's not sometimes the brand. All you've got to do is have it tailored.
Yeah.
You
true.
can go in and get a suit from M&S,
Oh
What's
my
wrong with
God.
M&S suits? M&S is great.
and then all you need to do is have it tailored.
What's wrong with M&S?
Just have a suit tailored. It's more the fit rather than the brand.
Yeah, he's right. You can make
I'm
talking. You can make a suit look $1 million.
100%.
You can go and buy a £100 or dollar suit
Yeah,
and take it to a really good tailor.
100%.
Pay £80.
Yeah.
Have it tailored at the ankles and at the cuffs and make it look really good.
Yeah.
And take it in the square back. It's called as well. But I think it's very important to have a good tailor and a suit shop, a good hairdresser.
Which you don't have.
I'm actually growing my hair. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can tell.
So I haven't been for a while. And what else? I think those are the two main things, really.
Nails.
Nails.
Cut your
Yeah.
nails.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a thing. Anyway, next question. Do we have
Yeah,
any more
next one.
questions?
That's right.
I didn't get any questions, unfortunately.
Are
Right.
turtlenecks acceptable?
Love them.
Yes.
From Jackarook.
Love a turtleneck.
From who?
Jackarook. Jack Collins.
Is the
Friend
turtleneck
of mine.
all the way up, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate,
All
I
the
wear them all
way
the
up.
time.
Why
Well,
is
how
why,
else
why
would
are
it
they
go?
laughing
I
so
love
much?
it. No, but sometimes you get
You
those.
do
like,
love a turtleneck,
I love
even in the summer. I bet.
I do like a turtleneck.
I've never seen you wear
It
anything
suits you,
apart
though.
from a turtleneck, apart from today.
Do you know it suits you because you've got a really good body?
Oli turtleneck. What?
I'm not like flirting.
You don't
with
have a
or
big
anything.
neck.
No,
do you?
but I like a turtleneck. It's
I
good.
think I've
it's
got a
for
big neck.
necks. You have a very small neck. Well, you're small. You don't have a big neck.
I think I've got a
If
pretty
Alex
strong
had a
neck.
turtleneck, you go up to his. You go to his.
How can you have a small neck? You've got a normal
You go
neck.
up to his nose.
What are you talking about?
No, some people have like a long neck, some people have a small neck. So you don't look like you have a big neck.
I was going to say, I don't really wear them very much because I've got a bit of a belly.
You haven't got a belly.
I've got a bit of a Greek belly.
Yeah, you.
It's in my
Come
genes.
on.
Yeah.
There's no need to be polite here. He hasn't got a little bit of a belly. He has a belly.
Sorry, I don't play football semi-pro like 5 times a week.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I can
I
wear
work
polo
hard.
neck. I can wear turtlenecks.
Sorry. When you're the top billing agent at DGRE, you're at your desk a lot.
I'm
Get a
never
bit
at my
of belly.
desk.
Yeah, I'm never like that.
Yeah. All right. The
Go on.
Urban Persian
Yeah.
said, rank the following skills of an agent: networking, problem solving, marketing. Go.
Networking,
Networking,
problem-solving,
problem-solving,
marketing.
marketing.
Well, I can't solve this problem.
Well, if you work at a big corporate, if you work at a big corporate, you're not going to really go into
That is a
big
that's a
marketing.
very
Unless
good
you, obviously you're going to market yourself a little bit on
They're
social
all
media.
so
but you're kind of-
vital.
Is anybody listening to me?
wow.
There
Is
is so-
anybody
I don't-
listening to me?
I-
I might as well not speak.
Oli, so that was.
Yeah.
What do you-
We'll work it out, Benji. Let's work it
Go
out.
on.
Yeah.
Right. What I was saying was, if you're working at a big corporate company, you're kind of fed business, right? You don't really need to market yourself.
And you don't need to network.
You don't really need to
Yeah, but you
network
have
either.
to for the future.
We know you have to
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're intrapreneurs and quite entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
They're not they. I used to be one. When you're fed business, you can get quite comfortable, is what I will say. A lot of my friends work at corporate
Or
companies.
grow a
You
big
can get
belly.
fat,
I've even
lazy,
got-
and you can get a big belly.
You know, my cousin is obviously family and going to be the best man at my wedding. He works at a big corporate company.
You're not inviting me and Benji, not your best man. So we're not going to come into this. I mean, you've got us on your
Wait,
chest.
awkward.
Oli, I am.
Oh fuck, just me then.
It's just you.
Are we allowed to swear on this?
From Maddie Gator, tennis shoes with a suit? Question
After
mark.
8 p.m.
Yeah, we didn't answer the question.
It's a very,
It's
very
very
awkward.
awkward.
You
It's very
can't-
awkward.
there's
I
not
would
one
say
that's
all
better than
three are
the
very
other.
good. If I had a gun at my head, I would say marketing number 1.
Yep. Networking number 2.
Networking number 2. And problem solving number 3.
Agreed. Move on.
Why are you posing? Good question.
I'm not
Yeah.
posing.
Very good. Very,
It's
very
like-
good question.
I
though.
always look like I'm posing because
You're just like looking at your phone like.
Very, very.
No, I'm thinking.
He's got the camera on.
I
It's
was
just-
thinking networking, problem solving, marketing. Yeah, marketing definitely comes first,
Yeah.
always,
Sorry,
even
I
in a
thought we already answered
downturn.
this one.
You know, one company I used to work at, when things got a bit quiet, I think it was during Brexit or something, the first thing they did was sack marketing. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
They made them all redundant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they
I've
should
seen that
be doing the
before.
opposite in
Yeah.
a downturn, like pumping money into marketing.
I've seen that.
Should we do
Next
one more?
one.
I know you've got a viewing soon.
You're meant to say like,
And
oh
the
yeah,
Arsenal
good point,
team.
Alex.
Yeah, great
mate,
point.
I've got to go now.
One more question,
You've
then
got
we'll wrap
viewing.
I've
up.
got 3 minutes.
Okay, last question. Tie or no tie?
No tie.
Tennis shoes with a suit? Question mark.
Sorry, no tie.
Are we going
I'm on
round?
this-
Are we going around the table? Okay,
No,
tennis shoes.
Tennis shoes with a suit? Question mark.
What's tennis shoes? Like my dunks?
White
Probably.
dunks. Let's just say trainers. I like it. I'm okay with it. I'm
Okay.
okay.
50-50.
Okay, cool.
You can rock both
Are you gonna leave to go to your viewing and we carry on, or are you gonna?
if you want me to.
No, we'll wrap it up.
Okay,
Well-
thanks, Oliver. You can go now.
Thanks for the interview.
Okay, so is that a wrap?
I loved it.
I think that could be a wrap.
I think that's a really good one.
Okay, the future of real
I hope-
estate.
I
So
hope
in a
we've
nutshell,
helped people.
the future of real estate is very
I was
unknown.
literally just wrapping up, and you just like
Sorry.
take over.
Alex likes to wrap.
I'm the host. Goodbye.
Let's go.
to you.
See you.
You always do this. You always do
Take
this.
his live
I
now.
would
God,
like
you
to
do
sit
it.
there next week.
No,
No, fine.
no.
To
And
be
also
fair,
you swapped.
I-
Weren't you there last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benji,
Is that your good
he likes
side or
his left
something?
side.
No, just
Yeah.
mix it
Likes
up. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So next week,
I agree. Urban Persian. He's the Urban Persian, by the way, who sent in the question.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, he's the Urban Persian.
It's a very good question,
Yeah.
to be fair.
I didn't know Persia was still a thing. Isn't it Iran? Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you for listening to the Three Intrapreneur Podcast. Remember, if you gained something, if you liked what you got, if you learned something, if you found it funny, like and share the show. Pay the fee. We'll see you on the
Share
next
it.
show. Episode 5.
Buy the
baby.
merch.
To the jingle.
Buy the merch.
Back to the studio. Back to the studio.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.
See you in episode 5.